Hi everybody, this is Michael Parent from Michael Parent Consulting Services. I wanted to share with you a little demo of a project I've been working on, just a little automation project for a client. I think what I'm going to start doing is making a series of different projects I've been working on regarding automation. What I've found is that automation just has a lot of different prototypical projects where you're only running, just like in football, you're only running 4 or 5 different plays with different caveats and nuances to it. But essentially, you can identify these types of plays that you're going to run from an automation standpoint. You can achieve a solution to these business problems much quicker. So this is a type of problem I'm calling an extractor problem. And what we had here is the client organization was working on a hiring freeze. So they were no longer opening any requisitions, and they were no longer hiring people for the rest of the year to control costs. But what they had, well, what if there's a justification for hiring somebody else? Well, it has to go through an approval process. So they created this very nice form that has all this information that it pulls in financials, it pulls in all this stuff, but the business lines would essentially fill out all this information and provide a justification for why they need a new person to be hired, and then the steering committee would approve and deny it. The issue is that this request is quite unwieldy. If you're looking through this, and if you're on a steering committee with 2 or 3 people, it's not in one place. You're moving up and down the screen, and then for every request that you have, I have my table here. I've got different requests, so I have to go and open up the next request and the next request. So it takes time. It's not as seamless as we would like. So we built an automation tool to pull all this information off of this FTE request form and put it into kind of this nice summary. So how we did this is essentially what the automation in the background does is it identifies the location of these files. It opens them up, it grabs all the information it needs, and it pastes them into a table. Now in this table here, I don't have any information, but we will in a second. And then from this table, we can draw a nice summary on a summary report. So I'll go ahead and show you how this works. The first thing I'll do is I'll draw your attention to kind of where we're at in this file. So I've got this extractor, what I call the extractor, and it's going to pull all this information. And all my FTE requests, full-time equivalent requests, are sitting in this file. And essentially what's going to happen is, like I said, it's going to open up this file. Excel's going to open up this file. It's going to pull all this information, the financials, the requisition ID, all the senior vice president, all this stuff, and then it's going to paste it into this table, and then it's going to move that file into an archive. So it's actually a nice from a perspective of data management, file management, is you can see my archive file is empty right now. So I'll go ahead and I'll just show you what it looks like. It's actually working in real time. I can see in my other window that the File Explorer is actually moving all of these. And there you go, it says update is complete. And we can see here that the data actually got populated. And we go to the table, we can see that these 3 FTE requests have actually moved over this very large table. So now, from taking all of this from multiple files, we now have it in a centralized location. We have a single point of truth. We have traceability. So if anybody goes back and says, I actually wanted 5 FTEs and not 2, we can go back and trace it and say, well, you actually only applied for 2 or 1 or however many. So there's a lot of just kind of accountability that's built into this as well. Now the summary, that table is incredibly difficult to read. We wouldn't want senior executives making decisions and having to scroll over to column BC to figure out what the business case is. So what we did is we built them a summary, and the summary essentially just pulls all the data from that table in this Excel document. It's got all the financials, it's got everything that you would want. And then also we just built this little index so you can actually go through the table, and as I hit up and down, previous and next, my financials will change. And it's just pulling that different field on the table. So as I mentioned, there are just kind of prototypical automation solutions, automation problems that you face, and solutions that you have to implement to make things more seamless. In doing something like this, where we're extracting information from one location and putting it into another and then building a nice report, We call that the extractor prototypical, prototypical automation problem. And in this case, we were able to really make a seamless transition from lots of files in different locations and really allowing the senior leaders to have all the information they need to make data-driven decisions in a much easier and efficient fashion. So if you're interested in learning more about automation, if you're interested in learning more about these type of prototypes that I have built, or any more examples, please just let me know, send me a message, follow me, do whatever it is you feel comfortable.